NASA has been hiding this for decades. What happens after death will shock you. Attention, what you're about to see in this video could change your life forever. What if everything you believe about death is wrong? What if there's proof that's been hidden from you for years, and it's only now coming to light? After all, do we simply die and everything ends? Or is there something much bigger, something that few have the courage to reveal? Get ready. What you're about to discover today might blow your mind. This has been hidden from humanity for decades, but now the truth is about to be revealed. The skeptics don't want you to know this. They say everything ends in death, that there's nothing beyond our physical body. But what if I told you that great scientists, mediums, and even NASA astronauts have already proven the opposite? Chico Xavier, Raymond Moody, Eben Alexander, Nikola Tesla. They all reached shocking conclusions about what happens after we leave this world. But the big question is, do you believe, or do you still think it's all just a myth? Pay close attention to this video. At the end, I'll give you knowledge that will expand your mind and make you see the world in a completely different way. And before we continue, tell me, where are you watching this video from? Comment now with the word discovery, and let's uncover this mystery together. If you're ready to learn the hidden truth about death, then don't go anywhere, because the revelations start now. Does NASA study life after death? This is a question that intrigues millions of people around the world. Officially, NASA is an agency dedicated to space exploration, but there are indications that it may also be involved in research on life after death. After all, prominent scientists and former employees have suggested that there is more going on behind the scenes than the public imagines. Does NASA have evidence of the afterlife? Many theories suggest that NASA has already discovered concrete evidence of consciousness existing beyond death. Some researchers claim that certain experiments conducted by astronauts and scientists have revealed shocking information about the continuation of the mind after the physical body dies. Among the most mentioned names in this context is Edgar Mitchell, Apollo 14 astronaut, and the sixth man to walk on the moon. After his space missions, Mitchell became one of the biggest advocates of the idea that consciousness survives death. He even stated that during his journey through space, he had mystical experiences that made him believe that life does not end with death. Another intriguing case involves Raymond Moody, a psychiatrist and researcher who dedicated his career to studying near-death experiences, NDEs. His reports show recurring patterns among people who have undergone near-death states: the vision of a light tunnel, the sensation of being outside the body, and encounters with spiritual entities. Secret experiences and experiments about the afterlife. In addition to NASA, other agencies and government institutions have attempted to understand what happens after death. Leaked documents suggest that the CIA and the Pentagon conducted highly classified experiments involving astral projection, remote viewing, and phenomena linked to the afterlife. One of the most famous cases is the Gateway Project, conducted by the CIA, which investigated whether the human mind could transcend physical reality and access dimensions beyond space-time. The goal was to understand if consciousness continues to exist after death, and if it is possible to interact with other realities. Another mysterious experiment involved the Monroe Institute, which studied altered states of consciousness and claimed that the mind could exist independently of the physical body. The US government itself funded studies suggesting that consciousness could move to other dimensions. What does this mean? If these theories are correct, NASA and other agencies may already possess information that could completely change our view of death and human existence. But why has this truth not been revealed yet? Is it because of the impact it would have on society? The answer may be closer than we think. If there's one thing that major institutions fear, it's losing control over what people believe. But one thing is certain: the evidence is everywhere, and those who delve into this subject end up discovering that death might just be the beginning. Near-death experiences and scientific evidence. Death has always been one of humanity's greatest mysteries, but what if some people have already glimpsed what happens on the other side? Near-death experiences, NDEs, are striking accounts from people who were clinically dead, but returned with detailed descriptions of a reality beyond this one. The most intriguing part? The accounts are surprisingly similar, regardless of culture, belief, or geographical location. But what do scientists and astronauts who have had these experiences say? Is there a rational explanation, or are we faced with something that challenges traditional science? Astronauts and scientists who witnessed the unexplainable. Among the most impactful cases is that of astronaut Edgar Mitchell from the Apollo 14 mission. During his trip to space, Mitchell reported having a transcendental experience, feeling a deep connection with the universe and becoming certain that consciousness is not limited to the physical body. After retiring from NASA, he began studying psychic phenomena and the existence of life after death, stating that governments hide information about the true potential of the human mind. Another intriguing account comes from Dr. Ibn Alexander, a renowned neurosurgeon who, after falling into a deep coma due to severe meningitis, had an extremely vivid NDE. He described a spiritual world where he felt embraced by an indescribable loving presence. Upon returning, he began advocating for the idea that consciousness can exist separate from the brain, contradicting everything he had learned in traditional medicine. Another famous case is that of Dr. Raymond Moody, who has spent decades researching NDEs. His studies show that people from different parts of the world report the same sensations when they die and return to life. The sensation of leaving the body and observing everything around, passing through a lit tunnel, meeting beings of light or deceased loved ones, a life review in seconds, absolute peace and absence of fear of death. Can science explain this? Many neuroscientists try to understand how these experiences occur. While some argue that it's just an illusion created by a dying brain, others suggest that NDEs are evidence that consciousness can exist outside the body. Renowned physicist Sir Roger Penrose, Nobel Prize winner, along with anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff, proposed a revolutionary theory. Consciousness may be stored in microscopic brain structures called microtubules. When we die, this information is not lost but transferred to the universe, suggesting that the mind may survive death. Dr. Bruce Grayson, psychiatrist and NDE researcher, analyzed hundreds of accounts and concluded that people who went through these experiences often return with profound changes. They lose their fear of death. They feel a new connection with the universe. They begin to believe that life has a much greater purpose. Why are these accounts so similar? If NDEs were just a delusion of the brain, why do so many people from different parts of the world describe exactly the same things? Is science neglecting a truth that cannot be explained solely based on biology? Does NASA and other agencies know more than they reveal? Scientists and astronauts have had experiences that could change everything we think about death and the afterlife. But is this information being hidden? The truth may be closer than we think. And what if death is just a passage to something much greater? Scientists break the silence. What have they discovered? In recent years, renowned scientists have broken the silence on one of humanity's greatest mysteries. What happens to our consciousness after death? What if I told you that major researchers, such as Dr. Ibn Alexander and Dr. Raymond Moody, have made discoveries that challenge traditional scientific understanding? They are not just studying death, they are exploring the possibility that consciousness may exist beyond the physical body. Dr. Ibn Alexander, can the mind survive death? Dr. Ibn Alexander, a renowned neurosurgeon, had his life and career transformed by a personal experience that challenged everything he knew about the brain and consciousness. In 2008, after contracting a rare bacterial meningitis, he fell into a coma and was declared clinically dead for 7 days. When he woke up, he reported a deep and vivid near-death experience, NDE. What he described was a spiritual world where he felt immersed in a radiant and welcoming light and had encounters with beings from other dimensions. But what is most remarkable is what he discovered after his experience. According to Dr. Alexander, his mind remained active even when his brain was completely disconnected and inactive. He came to believe that consciousness is not generated by the brain, but rather an independent entity that can exist beyond the death of the physical body. This viewpoint is radical, as it contradicts the conventional idea that consciousness is entirely dependent on the brain. In his book Proof of Heaven, he shared his findings and became an advocate for the idea that death is not the end of consciousness, but a transition to another form of existence. Dr. Alexander's experience is not unique. He argues that many people who have undergone similar situations confirm that consciousness transcends the physical body. Dr. Raymond Moody, the father of near-death experiences. Another major figure in this field is Dr. Raymond Moody, a psychiatrist and philosopher, considered the father of near-death experience research. In his book, Life After Life, published in 1975, Moody compiled and analyzed over 150 accounts from people who had undergone NDEs. He documented phenomena such as the vision of a tunnel, encounters with deceased loved ones, a sense of peace, and life reviews. These experiences occurred surprisingly similarly in people from different cultures and religions. Moody believes that NDEs provide evidence that consciousness can continue after death. He argues that while science has not yet been able to fully explain these phenomena, the reports from thousands of people suggest that death is not the end of everything. For him, these accounts point to the possibility of a reality beyond what human eyes can perceive. In an interview with the New York Times, Moody stated, "I believe these experiences are some of the most meaningful that people can have. They are more than just hallucinations. They are glimpses of something beyond." Research on consciousness, beyond the physical brain. The work of scientists like Dr. Alexander and Dr. Moody reflects a line of research that is starting to gain more attention. The idea that consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain, but something that can exist independently of the physical body. This concept is supported by studies from neuroscientists such as Dr. Bruce Grayson, a professor of psychiatry at the University of Virginia, who has investigated NDEs for over 40 years. He proposed that consciousness is not just a cerebral process, but an entity that can survive the death of the body. In addition, Sir Roger Penrose, one of the greatest contemporary physicists, and Stuart Hameroff, an anesthesiologist, developed the theory of orchestrated objective reduction, OR, which suggests that consciousness arises from quantum processes in the brain's microtubules and could theoretically continue to exist after the death of the body. These scholars, among many others, are opening new doors in the science of consciousness and challenging the traditional view that the mind is purely a product of brain activity. What have they discovered? The most surprising thing is that the discoveries of these scientists are not just about life after death, but about the nature of consciousness itself. What they have discovered could change everything we know about the human mind and reality. The idea that our consciousness may survive death and continue to exist in some form, perhaps in another dimension or as a form of energy, is becoming an increasingly plausible theory. Dr. Alexander, Dr. Moody, and other researchers are inviting us to think beyond the limits of traditional science. They are questioning the materialistic view of life and death, proposing that consciousness may be eternal and that death is not the end, but just a transition. This is just the beginning of a new understanding of the nature of life and death, and the revelations from this research may, one day, forever change the way we view the world and our own existence. NASA and its connections to the occult and ancient religions. NASA, the space agency that takes us to explore the boundaries of space, is in a unique position to uncover the universe's deepest secrets. But what happens when these discoveries begin to align with ancient religious teachings and spiritual theories? Fascinating theories suggest that NASA knows something much greater, something that ancient religions and philosophies have been teaching for millennia, but until now has remained a carefully guarded secret from the public. Occult theories about the afterlife. Some scholars and theorists believe that behind NASA's scientific facade, there is a search for answers that directly connects with the occult and ancient spiritual concepts. Many ancient cultures and religions, such as ancient Egypt, Hinduism, and Buddhism, speak of the existence of parallel dimensions, spiritual worlds, and the journey of the soul after death. These teachings sustain that death is not the end, but a transition to another form of existence, something that is also starting to be explored by NASA scientists and astronomers. Rumors suggest that some secret NASA documents refer to discoveries that imply the soul may exist in dimensions beyond the physical. Even more intriguing, some believe these discoveries are directly connected to the concept of life after death, something ancient religions had already taught us millennia ago. Astronauts and their spiritual experiences in space. Reports of spiritual experiences and mysterious encounters in space have also stirred great controversy. Some astronauts, when traveling beyond Earth, have claimed to experience profound contact with what many refer to as the unknown. Although NASA authorities often deny these claims, there is a growing amount of unofficial accounts from astronauts reporting transcendental experiences during their missions. These accounts are not just about the physical aspects of space travel, but also about moments of deep spiritual connection and encounters with a higher intelligence or other forms of existence. A notable example comes from Edgar Mitchell, the Apollo 14 astronaut who claimed to have had a mystical experience during his mission to the moon. He described feeling a profound sense of unity with the universe, and upon returning to Earth, he began studying the connections between science and spirituality. Mitchell even stated that NASA was aware of certain phenomena that were of a spiritual nature, and this issue could have implications for understanding what happens after death. Though controversial, these accounts raise questions about how aware NASA is of spiritual or dimensional discoveries that go beyond our current understanding of the physical universe. Is NASA hiding discoveries about the soul and parallel dimensions? While it's difficult to find concrete evidence, many theorists speculate that NASA may be concealing information about the soul, parallel dimensions, and even the continuity of consciousness after death. The space agency, with its unlimited resources and access to cutting-edge technologies, has the ability to make discoveries that could completely alter our perception of life and death. Conspiracy theories suggest that rather than releasing these findings, NASA and other government agencies may be hiding them. Why? One possible reason is the fear that this could shake existing power structures and societal and religious beliefs. If science were to confirm that the soul continues to exist after death, or that there are other dimensions where our consciousness could manifest, this would have a profound impact on all areas of society, from religions to politics and philosophy. Moreover, there are government documents that indicate NASA has encountered information about extraterrestrial entities or intelligences that might be operating in dimensions we are still unable to comprehend. And if these entities truly exist, they might have something to do with the mystery of life after death. This raises questions about the true nature of reality and what is really being hidden from us. What does NASA know? NASA has a vast database and a network of scientists and astronomers who have access to cutting-edge technologies and revolutionary theories. Many believe that the agency may be on the verge of a major discovery about the universe and the nature of the human soul. But for reasons of security, social control, or even fear of the impact such discoveries might have, this knowledge is being kept secret. As technology advances, new possibilities open up for exploring dimensions beyond the known space-time continuum, and NASA may be closer to unraveling the mysteries surrounding the existence of the soul and what really happens to our consciousness after death. The question is, are we prepared to accept these revelations? These questions continue to intrigue scientists, spiritualists, and even astronauts themselves. What is it that NASA is truly hiding? Are we about to understand what happens to our soul after death, or will the answers always remain beyond our reach? What does the Vatican and the government know but won't tell us? The truth about what happens after death has been a question that has intrigued humanity throughout history. While many believe that death is the end of everything, other lines of thought suggest that there is something much more complex and profound at play. But what do we really know about this mystery, and what do large institutions like the Vatican and governments know but prefer to keep secret? There are theories that suggest world leaders have access to crucial information about death and life beyond, but for reasons still unknown, they prefer to hide this from us. Ancient documents and hidden secrets, various historical documents and ancient texts, many of them restricted, suggest that global leadership has already gained knowledge of phenomena that are beyond our comprehension. One of the most intriguing are the ancient records of the Catholic Church and the Vatican, which contain claims about spiritual experiences, life after death, and even the existence of dimensions beyond our known reality. Such documents point to the idea that the human soul can transcend the physical body and continue its journey in another dimension after death. Some mysterious accounts preserved in the Vatican suggest that there were visions and spiritual contacts, recognized and even documented, with beings from other dimensions, something that resonates with the beliefs of several ancient spiritual and religious traditions. But why do such pieces of information remain a secret? The answer may lie in an underlying fear that, if the truth is revealed, many of the foundations of religious and social beliefs would be shaken. The theory of contact with beings beyond the physical dimension. Another intriguing theory is the idea that governments around the world, including powers like the United States, have secretly tried to establish contact with beings who live beyond our three-dimensional reality. It is believed that these beings may exist outside of our space-time and exist in a higher frequency of reality, with the ability to manipulate matter and energy in ways that we have yet to comprehend. There are speculations that major powers have access to advanced technologies and may have even established contact with interdimensional or extraterrestrial beings who possess a deep understanding of the nature of life and death. These beings, if they exist, may have answers to humanity's big question: what really happens after death? The CIA's Stargate project and remote viewing. One of the biggest enigmas circulating about what the government knows about life after death involves the CIA's Stargate project. During the Cold War, the CIA funded a series of secret experiments in remote viewing, the ability to observe places, people, or events at a distance without the use of physical senses. While the project was initially focused on espionage, some researchers point out that Stargate may also have had implications in other areas, such as investigating paranormal and spiritual phenomena. Remote viewing, according to some theorists, could be a key to proving that human consciousness can transcend the physical body. By allowing individuals to experience and see through dimensions beyond our normal sensory perception, the Stargate project raised the hypothesis that consciousness might be a force that is not limited to the body. Therefore, if consciousness can travel beyond space-time, it could also exist after death, in a different form or state. This theory has led many to believe that governments around the world, aware of these discoveries, have access to information about the nature of consciousness and death, but choose to maintain control over these truths, fearing the consequences of their disclosure. The hidden truth and mass manipulation. While the scientific community remains divided on many of these concepts, the truth is that many of these discoveries challenge traditional ideas about death and consciousness. Why would governments and the Vatican hide such information? The most plausible reason is that the implications of these revelations would be monumental. If human consciousness can truly exist beyond death, it could challenge the control that these institutions have over religious and political beliefs. Additionally, if information about interdimensional or extraterrestrial beings became public, it could destabilize the foundations of what we understand about reality, religion, and even global politics. The fear that the population may not be ready to handle these discoveries is a legitimate concern, and therefore, knowledge about life after death could be carefully guarded. What do we know? What don't we know? What we know for sure is that many of the questions about the afterlife still remain unanswered. However, what theories and secret documents suggest is that the major institutions are already aware of something that could change everything we understand about life and death. If there truly is a hidden truth about the continuity of consciousness after death, or the existence of beings beyond our reality, it is possible that this knowledge is deliberately being hidden to prevent a radical transformation in society. What does the Vatican and the governments really know? Are we close to discovering the truth about what happens after death, or is there much more behind these mysteries than we can imagine? What does this mean for you? Now that you've seen all of this, you might be wondering, what does all of this really mean for me? How do these discoveries impact my life and the way I live? If the theories about the continuity of consciousness after death, contact with other dimensions, and even the evidence suggesting that death is not the end are true, then we are facing a reality completely different from what we believe to be our final destiny. These revelations are not just about space theories or secret experiments. They question the very nature of our existence. The idea that consciousness can go beyond the physical body challenges us to rethink who we are, what our purpose is, and more importantly, what we are doing with the time we have while we are here. If there truly is something after death, it could change the way we choose to live our lives. Perhaps the fear of death will lose its grip, and we will be more able to pursue what really matters: purpose, connection, and inner peace. Are we just at the beginning of something much bigger? Every day, more and more discoveries are being made. We are not only unraveling the mystery of death, but also expanding our understanding of what life is, of consciousness, and of the forces that govern the universe. And what if everything we thought we knew was actually just an illusion? Are we only at the beginning of a journey of discoveries that go beyond our current understanding? Maybe everything we think we know about the universe, about life, and about death is just a tiny fraction of something much larger and more mysterious. Now, more than ever, the answers to these questions are within our reach, but the real challenge lies in how we choose to handle these revelations. Are we ready to face what lies behind all of this, or will we continue to live in fear and ignorance, distancing ourselves from knowledge that could liberate our minds and transform our worldview? The shocking question: what really happens after death? Here is the ultimate question, the one no one dares to answer, but everyone is dying to know. If this is true, then what really happens after death? If consciousness does not die, if there is more than physical life, what is the true fate of the human soul? Are we simply awaiting the next level of our existence in another form, in another dimension? What you believe about death will shape the way you live. But are you ready to face this truth? Will you discover a new way of living by staring death in the face? We don't have all the answers right now, but we know we are closer than ever to understanding what happens when we finally cross over to the other side. Now the question is, what will you do with this discovery? How will you let this knowledge shape your life, your choices, and your worldview? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's uncover this mystery together. Now that you've seen all of this, we want to know what you think. What do you believe about life after death? Have the discoveries we've shown today changed your view on what happens after we depart? Leave your opinion in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Are we ready to face the truth that's being hidden? And more, who else needs to hear this? Who in your life doesn't know about these mysteries yet? Share this video with those who need to know the truth. Don't let this discovery go unnoticed. What you've seen here could change everything. But remember, this could change everything. But are we ready for the truth? Don't let this question leave your mind. Comment, share, and continue with us on the journey to uncover the greatest mysteries of the universe.